pleasant good evening and welcome to another edition of MLC Talk. This is the platform we discuss all things Lutheran. We secure the facts beyond emotions. Um, we want to welcome again all of our viewers and our panelists. We are back. Last week we took a short break and we have our brother Elijah Zena is with us in the Twin City, Minneapolis. Hopefully our sister Corpus Silla will be joining us, and our brother, Dr. George Toto, is there in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. Um, we are going to be having a wonderful show today, and our host for this month, October, continues to be Dr. George Toto. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome our, I would say, our founder, Brother Abel Learwellie. You also welcome Dr. Toto.
Yeah, thank you with it. Taking our viewer out there again. Like what they said, we're glad to be back on the show. We couldn't be back last week because of technical problem, but we're back again for another good edition on this show. So share the show for us, our viewer out there, the page, in my Lutheran Connection. They invite so many people. There's a very good discussion. We'll be discussing the book of one of our brothers, Brother Abel. Like Elijah, he wear dark shades today. Again, I don't know about fiery show. Well, you know what they say? The Lutheran Church had a lot of brain. There's no brain during the Lutheran Church. So when we see one of them coming off the rank, a beautiful book, especially the book, the story of the Lutheran Church, Nobody Left Behind. A very incredible book. I read some of it, and it answers so many questions. So we'll be discussing her book and looking at the reality within the church as compared to that book. And don't forget, this is with the month of the Reformation Sunday, the day Martin Luther King post-air his 95 TC. That's a celebration of the Lutheran Church in the Reformation, in the Protestant Church. So look at that time in the book. If you look at the comparative of this book with the 95 TC of Martin Luther, it speaks a lot. So welcome. So Elijah, what is happening in your end in the Twin City?
Oh well, the Twin City is quite quiet. Went to church. Came back for church. Today we had a new pastor installed. So it was a wonderful service. We had the bishop of the St. Paul Synod, Bishop Patricia Ford. She came to church today, and she installed our new pastor, Pastor Patrick Janet. And I'm very grateful that I'm part of that call committee to call our new pastors. So we are happy to start a new chapter with him at Bethlehem Lutheran Church. The weather is pretty much getting a little chilly now. We are back now into our daylight saving time is about to end. We're getting darker a little sooner now. But other than that, everything else is going. Just got another little bit of a side news. So please keep my stepmom in your prayers. Um, she fell, and nobody was around to notice that she fell in her room. The leg that she was amputated on, unfortunately, she got a stroke on that side of her body. So the whole side of her body got this is kind of right now malfunctioning. Out of last night, the family was moving around with her from hospital to hospital. They could not, no hospital could accept her. They had to bring her from Bonneville all the way to JFK, where they finally got a acceptance. And then, so currently she's in the ICU. So keep her in your prayers.
What is? They definitely, yes, Elijah, definitely so. About your mother-in-law in prayer. I know this is a difficult time for
Not
you.
mother-in-law, my stepmother, my
Your stepmom,
stepmother.
okay, your stepmom, rather stepmom. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
About
yeah.
in prayer, it's a difficult time for you and the family. And yeah, you're on the show. We want to remember your family in prayer. What is?
Mhm.
What is happening here? Also, Syria.
Oh no. um,
Director for senior people.
now I wanna wish Elijah's mom on speedy recovery. I also want to wish our dear mother, uh, Mother Madia Ray Kappa. I want to wish her a speedy recovery. Uh, she underwent surgery. You know, we want to remember her during this time of recovery. Um, but I also want to, you know, just thank God for the opportunity that we can gather again this evening. Um, you know, it's when you say I'm serious, yeah, because I want Elijah to be straight to the point. It's winter now in our place there. He said, you know, we get
Well,
up,
we stay enjoying we
up
stay enjoying the
beautify,
weather. So
beautify. I'm told you had snow probably last night. So we need to start
well,
sending
not instant for
some search and rescue team in Minneapolis. But yeah, but Dr. Toto, yeah, everything is fine. The great Manchester City, I think you can see what's happening. You know,
talk about your portable review. We talk about Manchester City.
yeah, man. Listen, man, you ask me what happening. You know,
But don't pick and choose. Talk about portable review.
okay. I mean, you okay, all right, yeah. You asked me what happening. So I try to give you the news, what's happening, the great, Dunarama. I mean, we see what's happening. There's huge transformation in the Premier League. So, we want to say welcome again to everyone. We're gonna have a wonderful show. Glad to be in the, in the presence of all of my colleagues. Again, we are very much happy or excited that Brother Abel Learwellie is here with us today. Speaking of book, hopefully not too long we will have the DG will be joining us as well. I think he wrote another book as well. So yep.
Yeah, so what it? So let
Yep.
me draw you guys also to myself Pittsburgh being out of cool,
Okay.
windy, rain.
Come to Georgia.
Pittsburgh is a hills and mountain, especially in western Pennsylvania. So it's been very cold there today. It's I think for me, I think we're in winter now
Okay.
because we don't switch our heating on. Well, that get to the
gotta
mayor.
turn the heat on.
That get to the
say,
mayor of the
say,
show.
say, say the truth and you'll be set free.
Yeah.
Now why Elijah wore that goggle today? You go where Stevie still got goggle today. The man in winter now, snow falling in that place there.
But that get to the mayor of the show.
Yeah, let's get to the middle of the show.
My Lutheran spirit. No one left. No one leaves the church. By
Behind.
Brother
Yeah.
Abel Learwellie.
Yep. Yep.
Abel, you wrote an incredible book. On behalf of the network, we want to congratulate you. Our church had a lot of human capital, human resources that we can portray the good image of the Lutheran Church in Liberia to the rest of the world. So I want to tell you thank you for a good work, and want to give you a time to give your intro to us, and after that we'll go into your book to ask you some questions, as compared to why now, looking at the critical junction of the Lutheran Church in Liberia and celebrating Reformation Sunday, what it meant for us, a Lutheran in Liberia, looking at our father, Martin Luther King, 95 thesis he wrote. What is there for us? And looking at your book, he said nobody leave the church. So it has so many comparisons. So we'll hear from your intro there. We'll come to you. Then we'll dive into the book.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Josh. Are you getting me?
Yeah, okay, hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. It is a great pleasure again tonight to be back home uh, on my Lutheran connection. Sometimes our busy schedule have just kept us away, but home is always home. So I want to take this time myself to thank all of you, Dr. Toto, Willie, Elijah, Kopo, our man there in Jerry, in Saudion. All of you guys have been very proactive in moving this show forward to ensure that the show remains alive, and that which you have done over the years. So I'm very grateful, and I want to thank all of you and bring all of you greetings there from uh, my Lutheran community and everywhere around the world who are monitoring this top show tonight. I want to say thank you ever so much. I'm honored to be here at my Lutheran Connections to give a kind of a spotlight of my recent books. Uh, my Lutheran story, No One Leaves the Church. Um, you know, I have been thinking about it for a very long time about writing a book. So I feel that to get this started, I needed to write about my personal journey of this church because
Mhm.
just like any other person, everything about some of us is about the Lutheran Church. Uh, I'm in my 53 years of age. Imagine. And since I started my life, I have never known any different institution besides the church. The church is almost like my everything. It's my mother, my father, my siblings, my brothers, my sisters. It is my home. So that's what makes the church very, very important. So this book is actually a personal testimony of that journey and also a collective reflection. Uh, it has to do with the story of faith, perseverance. It also has to do with identity as a Lutheran. Uh, if you look at the book has 7 chapters. You will see that chapter 1 actually chooses my journey within the Lutheran Church in Liberia. Um, from my early childhood day in my little village there in Yapua.
Yeah,
Yep.
we'll cut to the book. Just give me your intro. Yeah, we get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, there's a whole combination of issues, and
Mm.
it is good that we can be here tonight. I'm truly glad to share some of these stories with our community and with all of you. So, Dr. Toro is glad being on your show tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, take it, yeah. You know what? When you're asking about someone being a Lutheran church for the rest of our life. Oh my God. Let's see. But hey, take it off for me. Answer the call quick.
All right.
Uh,
What?
you want to mute him and repeat
Yeah.
the start.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. All right. Sorry, folks.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I can kick out a question if you want.
okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Elijah. If you want to go ahead.
Oh, so all right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to say welcome to all of you again to our Malutri Connection. Today we have in studio Brother Abel Learwellie, the author of the book My Lutheran Story, No One Leaves the Church. His journey has taken us from Vendoma to Monrovia to Accra to Bangkok and just weaving together the story that reminds us of the unshakable bond between faith and identity. So today we want to welcome Brother Abel to this show. And we're going to start this first segment of questioning, looking at the background of this, of his book. Brother Abel, my first question to you, let's start from the beginning. For those who haven't read the book yet, how would you describe the Lutheran story in just a few sentences?
Well, as I said, my Lutheran story uh, is is a book of a personal testimony. Is my personal testimony and our collective reflection. It is a story of faith, identity, perseverance, struggles, and the rest of it. It traces my journey within the Lutheran Church in Liberia, from my childhood to my involvement within the National Lutheran Youth Fellowship. Let's say from childhood to Sunday school to the National Lutheran Youth Fellowship, and then to the fabrics of different Lutheran programs and activities, and then onward to the presence. So I try as much as possible to kind of really flag up this personal journey. But beyond my personal experience, it also speaks to the story of many Liberians who found uh, purpose and strength within the church. Because even in times of difficulties, in times of war, in times of our personal struggle, um, no one to look up to. We all look up to the church. When things are better with us, we look up to the church. So,
Thank you, Brother Abel. Thank you, Brother Abel. We just wanted a short description of the book for those who haven't read the book yet. I know we're going to go deep into questioning surrounding the inspiration of the book. Just to follow up to that question, what inspired you to share such a personal journey with the word?
it is important to share a personal journey with the word, because a lot of people think that the church it's just a place of relaxation. But if you actually look at the church has to do with struggle. It has to do with our better time. And whenever we go through the different struggles of life, different difficulties, we sorry about that.
Yeah, go
Are
ahead.
you there?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So no matter where life takes us, whether through conflict, whether it's through displacement, it's through our personal struggles, uh, the church never leave us. Even if life gets better, when we are struggling, we go to the church for God to help us. When things become better with us, we go to the church for God to help us. So the value, the teaching, and the grace that shape us continue to guide us in wherever we find ourselves. And that's the reasons why it is important that this message go up to the world, so that people will begin to read, to renew their own faith and their own journey, and to understand that the church, the body of Christ, is not only about enjoyment, but it's also about struggle.
Thank you, Brother Abel. Um, okay, let's go back. Take us back to your root. What was your early experience like growing up and finding a place in the Lutheran Church in Liberia?
Um, Actually, when I was growing up, the first event I ever witnessed was a church. Because back then, maybe around 5 to 6 years, when I was growing up, the only church we had in our village was the Lutheran church, and we had a church in the middle of the town, and that is where young men, women, elderly people gather on Sunday evening to worship God. And I remember living down the hill with my parents, and I would climb up, hold my dad shirt, and then we climb up the hill, and he tells me, "Oh, we are going to church, we are going to worship God." But one movement I quite remember always was on Christmas Eve. On Christmas Eve, let's say on New Year Eve, and that's December 31st. On New Year Eve, my father would take me to the church around about 10 to 11. And we were staying there singing together, dancing and everything. And when it is about 11:30 p.m., and my dad would tell me, uh, we are now about to enter the new year. So you're going to hear the bell sound, or sometimes a drum sound. And whenever the drum sounds, it means the new year have fallen. Then I will ask you, I say, but where will all take that new year? You say, well, when the new year fall, we will get outside and pick up the new year. And then I would be very curious and very curious about it and very excited. And I want to hear the sound of the drums and that of the bell. So the movement, it is 11:59, maybe few seconds to 12th midnight. And immediately it's 12th midnight, and the guy will knock the drum or beat the bell one time, boom, and everyone will be like jumping into joy and singing different songs and excited about the new year. And I would turn to my father and say, "Where is the new year?" And sometimes you walk up and pick up a stone and say, "This is the new year. Here we are." So I quite remember those journey. And this is the kind of reflection I had as a child. So when I enrolled at mission school in Zaza in the middle 1980s, I was quite big. I was almost like 12 years, when I started actual school. So at the Zaza Lutheran Mission School, I never knew how to read and write. Though I've come from an interior school and I was promoted to the second grade, and my father sent me back to the first grade because I could not read, neither write or speak. So that first year I had a sobering average of 59, my total average for the whole semester. And I had only one blue on my report card. And my dad turned to me and said, "Well, you you will make it. I know, I trust you, you're going to do it all by yourself. I know you will pick up." And when we returned from the vacation that year, the May-year vacation, usually we used to close school around December. School used to open in January and close in December. So we used to have July vacation, where we go for vacation the beginning of July, and then we return in August. So when I returned in August that year, I don't know where the miracles came from. And I could just imagine, by imagination, I started reading. I started reading every text that came before me. And I learned how to write very well. And I learned how to speak English even better, right? And everything just turned out like that. But one good thing I still remember is the letter Lutheran, Lutheran. Because we used to have a symbol, "Welcome to Zaza Lutheran Mission School," and then "Welcome to Corinth Lutheran Hospital." So the word Lutheran kept on my mind. So every door, every chair, every table that I see, once I have pen, I'm going to pen down the word Lutheran. Until at some point, the teachers in the teachers' quarter started calling me Mr. Lutheran, right?
Okay,
So
Abel. So Abel,
Okay.
that wrap it up quick.
That is very good.
Yeah.
Before I get turned over to you and ready to continue, I just wanted to ask Abel one last question with two segments of part two parts of that question. Abel, looking at the book, let's look at the heart of the message in your book. The subtitle of the book, "No One Leaves the Church," really stands out. So what does that mean? What does that phrase mean to you personally? And then was there a moment in your journey where you felt like walking away, and what brought you back?
yeah, you see the caption, "My Lutheran story, no one leaves the church." I mean, this is the heart of the entire book, "No One Leaves the Church." When I talk about no one leaves the church, this is a very strong message. And it carries with us a message of conviction. It means that no one, no matter where life takes us, whether you are in your struggle, whether you are facing personal trial, whether you have climbed the ladder one step beyond, the church never ever leaves us. And that's what I said. I said our days of struggle, we were at the church. When life became better, we went at the church to say, "God, thank you for promotion. Thank you for better life." So that values and that teaching and that grace that shape us continue to guide us wherever we go. And that's the essence. That's the heart of the book. No one leaves the church. No matter where you go, the church will follow you there.
So was
That's what
there a
Abel.
moment that you felt a walking away, and then what brought you back?
Yes. You know, in life, everyone has their own disappointment. Everyone have their own struggle. So it is with all of us. We are living in a very difficult time, despite of all of the things that we got from the church, our educations, our travel experiences. There still came a better time when no one could just easily focus on who you are and what you're supposed to be doing. You know, everything begin to turn like the whole world is turning against you. And most especially finding yourself in the midst of people that you trust, people who have more than you up, people who have taught you lessons, people that you trusted, people that you believe in, people that you wanted to be like them. Take for instance, in this book, I made mention of a specific paragraphs. You know, growing up in Banga, when I was in Banga, Simax, in the late 1980s, I used to admire the young pastors like Pastor Charles Freeman, many of them Reverend the late Mangum, Reverend Amadou Salif. All this guy was attending GST, and whenever we converse at the church, and when this guy preached, so my dream and my goal was to become a pastor because I wanted to be like some of these guys, you know. On Sunday, when they preach in the church and everything turned outside there, people begin to develop that hope and that trust in God. I wanted to be like them, right? But at some point, it's like everyone want to just tell you, as I said, the leaders that you believe, the leaders that you trusted, the leader that you thought they could be there to protect you, and they begin to behave or to act like they don't know you from nowhere, and they treat you as an outcast. So you have chapter 2, rooted in faith and hurt by people. That's chapter 2 of the book. And that is actually about my trials time as an individual within the Lutheran Church. After claiming all the laurels from the childhood in the interior up to the Lutheran school, Lutheran mission school, graduating from high school, going back to Lutheran school to teach as a teacher, and then coming back to the Lutheran Youth Fellowship and going through the ranks and files as a member, as official, and lastly as a president, going through different programs like the trauma healing program. Then, when you have reached a level obtaining a bachelor's degrees and getting a master's degree and serving outside of the country and doing some of the international stuff, and capable of raising money and bringing that money back to the church, and somebody tells you your money is not important to us, it's not important, we don't need you, or somebody tells you, man, you are not competent, you are not qualified. And guess what? The people that are speaking like this are the people who you trust so much. So it reminds me of the book of Judas Caesar, when bookers, you know, when bookers, shoppers, Caesars, and Caesars turned to him and said, "Ain't you Boutros?" So we carry with all these heavy weight, these disappointments in our personal lives. And
Okay, Abel.
Yeah, I can get you.
Okay, yeah. So that make a response is very short, so we can make it more interactive, and also we can get our viewer out there to ask questions and they call into the show. Also to whether share the number of the show to our viewer out there, do some of the call to ask Abel a question regarding the book. They can call or they can put their question in the chat. We will read that chat. You know, there's a very credible story, my Lutheran story. No one leaves the church. It's a very powerful, you know, like some of the questions Elijah asked for some of the part of here, you know, like you say in your intro, when it comes to the Lutheran church, someone cannot give a date how we join the church. It was through our parents when they passed on to us, you know, and I can become a full members of the church, you know. But let me ask you one question there. I will reach out to Willie. In the intro, of your book, you talk about despite everything, you talk about the in, imperfect institution, which is the church. And that's a very powerful statement. Imperfect institution. That be from our understanding, that be the church, our Lutheran church in Liberia is not perfect. There are a lot of things going in the church. It could be corruption. It could be disregard for pastors, lay leader, deacon, maybe central administration don't care to preach the message and make it so they make an institution imperfect. But that was Eddie. You are urging us not to leave the church within this difficult circumstances that you may mention. So how do you respond to that?
Well, when I say we live in imperfect in an imperfect church, I am not squarely saying that the church is not perfect. The church is just like us. The church is a living body. The church has its own fraud. The church is being driven by people. It's not just the building that we see, but it is about people. It is people that lead the church. And when these people are not perfect, the reflection also goes to the church. But in the midst of it all, despite of its imperfection as a church, it still remains a place for God's calling. There is still a place of hope and a place of faith. There's a place where we are grounded. We take our happiness. There's a place where we are worried. We take our worriness. So uh, it is sometimes a difficult thing to grow up in a church that raise you, a church that kind of nurture you, and is a seed church that can also disbandle you along the way. And as I said, the story is now one of my personal story. The story applies to all Lutherans, to all church members. There are times in our church people have struggled along the way. Some of them have decided leaving the church. Some of them left the church. Some have struggled leaving because they spend their entire life. And whenever they are hit by trials and tribulations from those that leave, that alone also bring them that they want to like just go away from the church. So when I talk about imperfection, that's the angle at which I'm speaking.
Okay, definitely, yeah, definitely. So that's the angle I knew you're going to when you got to imperfect. They talk about the imperfection of the church, But I will come back to you again. We'll deep into the book. Let me give Woody the opportunity to ask some question. Woody?
Yeah, thank you, Director. So, Brother Abel, in your book, you mentioned that in the beginning. You mentioned that this is not just, and I'm going to quote directly from the book. You said this is not just a book about story, about staying. Sorry, this is not just a book about staying. It is a call for it's a call to accountability, unity, renewal, a declaration that the church is more than its flaws, and that in every broken place, God is still at work. So earlier on, you mentioned about some of the challenges and how some people have been pushed to the edge to leave the church, and you talk about you briefly mentioned about the struggles that you and some of us have gone through in the church. But at what point did you actually realize, you said, you know what, um there's no turning back, this is our church, we all need to still and build this church together, we need to uphold this church together? At what point did you think about that during your journey?
Um, you know, I want my personal story is I lost grade completely.
Okay.
I was kind of floating over the river, and I was asking myself many questions. Um, how with my home treat me as though I am an outcast? How will my home tell me that you are not competent? And maybe in other words, you are one of the useless guys who just sitting here and eating our money. And guess what? somebody, one of our leaders told me, you are not just here, eating our money, right? And there were different words used, but sometimes the way we use these words, and we don't understand how deeply they hurt. So that's why our utterances, when it comes to the church's motto, it's very important. We have to be careful what we utter up there, most especially those in leadership. So you have worked with an institution, Willie, for more than 22 years of your life. You started your professional journey, like in my case, as a classroom teacher in Sima School in 1996. I was there 7 years as a volunteer, teaching high school economics and social studies. I left and went through the ranks and files of the AYF. At the level of the AYF, we were never paid. You guys are living witness to that. Elijah served as a national president. That is 100% sacrificial work. Maybe the benefit is the exposures. The exposures and the learning and the sharing. But every human being wants to reach at a point where they begin to be recognized or to be realized. There is no even half about it. Every human being wants some sort of a recognition. And we feel the church should be that place to recognize even the unknowing. Those who don't have the bigger voice, they go to the church to look for their voice. They go to the church to look for their value. So after all these years, and I have fallen out with the leadership of the church, and I have sent in my letter of resignation from the department at which I work in. But there is a thing about it. There is not one person from the SCL who ever asked me the question, what have gone wrong? Can we talk about this? Can we face it together? No one person asked me that question. And there are a couple of reasons why people could not ask the question. The reasons why some people could not ask the question was because they wanted to protect their job. Because asking me question, a decision that had been taken by the bishop and members in the executive of the SCL have taken that decision, and nobody dared to question why. Everyone is afraid. Everyone wants to protect their boundaries. They want to protect their jobs. So who cares? Mr. Learwellie walked out of the fence with hair bowed down despite of what he has done. Despite of being up there across the US and Canada and bringing money into the church program. No one cares. And somebody asked the question, let the man go. We don't even need his service right now. That is the leader of the church speaking. That is a church leader speaking. And the church leader who is saying this is not even thinking about the inner consequences and the trauma that I'm carrying. Then I asked myself, I thought the church is a place of trauma healing. I thought the church is a place where when people are disappointed, we can come into your question, Willie. Then I locked my door and I stayed in my room for 2 weeks. I wanted to add another one to that. My parents were full Lutherans. My mother died in the Lutheran church. But guess what? Who buried my mother? It was a Pentecostal church that buried my mother, my brothers and sisters. A Pentecostal church. And today I still have my mother tie. I still have her tie book here. Her tie book from Yapua to the displaced camp. I still have everything stored out here. Maybe in my next boy, I'm going to displace those things. But this is the thing. So my mother died, and no one asked the question. No one tell me I have my sympathy.
Yeah,
we have to
Abel,
run.
don't
Come in.
get
We have to run to a
don't get
Pentecostal.
don't get too
The
emotional now.
question
Go
Willie
ahead.
asked, the question Willie asked is, at what point you decided to stay? Willie, the reasons why I have to stay, my brother, there's no different home. As I said in my intro, from baby to 50 some more years, I got no different home. And I asked my question, where are my brothers and my sisters that grew up with me? Where are my classmates? Where are my Lutheran youth brothers? Where am I going to establish a new home, to make a new family? Where are we going to cast our joke of the AYF KP camp? Where am I going to sing the song, Love is a Flag, Flying Hard? Where am I going to sing those songs? It's going to take me maybe another 50 more years. By then I could be in my grave. So when we reach that point of situations, and we have to decide. So we have to turn back to remain within the church, no matter what. And the church remain us.
That's
Thank you.
good. That's good.
Dr. I just have one more, and please, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Brother Abel, from the information that from your explanation just now, reminds me of the Psalm 1, I think it's Psalm 118:22. Bible talks about the rejected stone had turned to become the cornerstone, and we all seeing what is happening today. And writing your book at this point, and like that Dr. mentioned, your book being launched on Reformation Sunday, I mean, it speaks volume, But I want to go back again to I want to go back to your, to the book. I can recall that at some point the in the chat room, my Lutheran Connections chat room, you placed a call for others to join you to share their stories and reflections, in this book that has been published. So were you successful in getting others, or this inaugural book is just all about your life journey in the Lutheran Church in Liberia?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of other stories. You have a whole chapter that also capture the story of others. The chapter is entitled "From the Pews and the Pulpits." So there are pastors who also share their journey with us, and we capture that in chapter 3. There are lay leaders, youth leaders, women leaders who also share similar journey with us, and we also have that in chapter 3. Though we wanted more stories, but that is not the end. That is just the beginning, because we want our church to be a storytelling church and a testimony, so that we can begin to realize the importance and the unimaginable powers of God, because God works in a miraculous way. Without story, there will be no faith. And that's the reasons why we come to say we need to share the story so that we can revamp the way of the SCL. A lot is happening. But if we just stand still and everybody feel that everything is okay, we are not getting anywhere. We need to narrate the story. All we need to do, narrate these stories with faith, with hope, and with respect to one another. So yes, I got few people who share their stories, and those stories are captured in chapter 3.
Yep, that's good, Abel. Thank you. The story of the book is so sweet. I got my internet copy. I've been reading a lot of good story. That book capture. And listen to some of the points you share, especially when it comes to the pastor. On the show, on the network, we've been discussing a couple of issues when it comes to the welfare of the pastors, which will be the critical issues when it comes to the pension, the way pastors are being taken care of. And we have Elijah, who is a member of the network. He shares some emotional testimony about he and his family, when his father was around with the Lutheran Church also too, the struggle that pastors go through. And somebody that's motivated through the course of their difficult days in the Lutheran Church in Liberia, but they served the church. And then in the mid-90s, I can recall we had a huge lot of influence on young people that left the church because the way when things went on, I know some of them personally, they explained their story. Some of them were pastors. They left the church, they went to different denominations. Some of them opened their own churches. Your book, how do you reach out to these people? That your story can be a motivation to them if I only want to come back to the church. How do you reach out to them?
Are you talking about the pastors?
The pastors to motivate those that left the church in the midst of the struggle. Maybe for some reason, how do we motivate them to come back to the church?
Well, you know, everyone has different ways of addressing issues, and that's what I said. Hello to those that stay within the church and continue to serve, even in the inner circle of the church, and they are not recognized. But we also pray for those that left for some reason. And I said, those people that left the church, maybe they may be on a deeper reflection, and they could come by. But there are just a lot we can do. How many times have we have a full statistics of our Lutheran population? I don't think so. Up to present, we don't even have a full database of our church members. And sometimes we don't care who leaves and who return. Mostly those that I remember are people who made maybe a public donation within the church, people who go deeper into the package to maybe donate. If they are not present in the congregation today, many people will be asking, where is this person? But what about that old lady who is down there, who comes to the church every morning to open the church's door, to sweep, to wipe the benches and the rest of that? And no one sees. No, if they stay away for days, weeks, and months, or even years, who really cares? So I think it is about time, George, that all of us happen to pick up the authority and the responsibility to go after the lost sheep. We can do that through visitation. We can do that by engaging them, making them to know that they are just as important as any other persons, and they are needed back to the church. I gave you a story. There was an old lady sick on her sick bed at GFK. This old lady had been in the church for a rack of years, and she was lying there on her sick bed, and nobody knew about it. She had spent almost a month plus in the hospital, and the doctors have fought, and they couldn't find any solution. So on this day, and then Bishop Harris, the late, may so rest in peace, have gone to see somebody in the hospital, and then while passing, and somebody said, Bishop, this old lady is in the church. And Bishop turned around and walked on the wall, and the nurses gave him the permission to enter, and he entered, and he saw this old lady, and he said, we are so sorry. I just stopped by to speak to you people. And he prayed over her. And after 2 days, they called the bishop, and they told her that the old lady was responding positively and she can now return home. So that little kindness, George, matters a lot. So there's just a lot we can do. Some people don't need money. Some people don't need anything from you. They just need recognition. They just need their presence to be felt. Mm-hmm. So people who have left the church,
so Abel, before I get Elijah to come in, so how do we change that process now? Maybe for the national level, for the Lutheran Church in Liberia, how do we change that perspective to reach out our members? How do you think that we should have a special program, maybe a recognition program to recognize our pastors, and how do we reach out our members through congregation? What would be your recommendation to the national body, to the leadership? How do we change that?
Well, it's about being more inclusive, George. It's about being more inclusive, because if we are trying to kind of catalog from the national level to the parish level. The pastor have greater responsibility to know their members. That's one thing. They got greater responsibility to know their members. And the way you do that is to track up. You are in the church and maybe you have hundreds of people. Sometimes it seems to be difficult, but if you have different committee like visitation team, you have this other committee that responsible for welfare, you have this committee responsible for old age, for the elderly and the rest of that. With those kinds of coordinations, we have strongly believed that we are able to flag up even the lost members who have left the church because of one or two grievances that they have or hurt that they have and they don't want to return.
Yeah, thank you for that. We're going down the wire. Now, we will ask, we'll get Elijah. Elijah will ask one question. Then we'll recognize our viewer.
Sorry to interrupt. We have someone on the line.
All right. Let's take that question. Then we'll come to Elijah.
Yes, go ahead. State your name and ask your question, please.
My name is Dickerson Williams. I'm phoning in from Dar es Salaam. Thank you so much thank you so much for the time, Brother Learwellie. I have two quick questions. And the first is, what are the key social issues facing the Lutheran Church in Liberia today, and how does your book speak prophetically to them? That's the first question. And the second question is, you work in peace building and trauma healing. How does the church serve as a space for psychological and spiritual restoration in your narratives?
Abel, did you get the question?
You got my two questions?
Yeah, I got the second one clear where you talk about I work with the Trauma Healing and Reconciliation Program, and how does healing and reconciliation speak to that narrative, right? Am I right?
Yeah. The first. Let me just summarize the first question. The first
question is, what are the key social issues facing the Lutheran Church in Liberia today, and how does your book speak prophetically to them?
Okay, I will go straightly into the first question about maybe it may not only be the issue of social, it could be a combination of whole issues. There's so much that currently faces the Lutheran Church, and if you actually look at my book, I have a chapter there where I also talk about reimagining the Lutheran Church in Liberia. Okay, there are a lot that we're supposed to do, but one has to do with a leadership crisis within our church. Leadership is one problem in this church. Many times we go to conventions and we go to elections, and you see everyone pulling and hauling everybody down. There's no understanding. The church has turned into a political battle. People fighting one another, maybe for space, for voice, for position. It could be position at the national church as a bishop. It could be position just to participate in the executive council of the church. It could be a position at the parish level, maybe to become a parish chairperson or someone else, so that you will be able to also inform other decisions. We have this problem. And that's what I say in my book. A call to purposeful leadership. Our leadership shouldn't be about showing off, not because we want to serve on church council. So therefore, we should fight for leadership. It shouldn't even be about title, because we want to be called member of the executive council or member of this person, member of that person. But rather, our leadership should be more purposeful. It should be a servant leadership. We should be the servant of the people to serve them. So that's one issue that the church is currently facing. Another issue is that, let us not dodge the fact, the Lutheran Church still practicing a lot of injustices when it comes to picking and choosing. We have to face the reality. I will go straight to the pastors. Why would it call somebody who were at the level of the central administration as an officials and serving in parish leadership when you have other pastors who don't even have a parishional assignment? Let's be frank, gentlemen, it's wrong. So what you are doing to the rest of the people who also went to GST and graduated with a bachelor degree, you denigrate them. Some will be roaming without assignment. Why would you also want to have a few group of people at the urban center to be pastors and only they can occupy pastor position at the urban center? And you have other pastors going to the interior, and those at the urban center cannot be touched or cannot be changed or reassigned. I think the issue of assignment with among them should also be SAC law. It should go around. Joshua coming. I think he asked a very critical question.
Yeah.
He talked about issues. So we are trying to address one of the issues, be it social justice or whatever. And this is also spread among lay people. So we are saying for the church to get back on its footing, we have to be more inclusive. We have to open up and kind of give space to everybody to participate. So in my personal story, I always tell the people, so if Abel Learwellie have gone to school and earned a bachelor degree and a master's degree, he have gotten an assignment at one of the international organizations in New York, and then return home, and somebody look at him and say, you are not competent to be a program officer of the trauma healing program. That's injustice. That's injustice. When Abel Learwellie was the one, when he got to your program, he initiated programs that are visible and tangible that people can see with their eyes. I introduced a call card system within our department. I was the first person to open Facebook.com. I set up a website for my department. And when I raised money up to 100,000, I brought it. And yesterday, somebody tells me you are not qualified. That's injustice. That's injustice. So
Okay,
these are some of the issues. These are some of the issues we're talking about. It's not only about Abel Learwellie.
Yeah,
it's not only about the next pastors. Everyone, one way or the other, will find themselves in this story. There's a person who have, there's a person who have the charisma and the know-how to be with a youth department. The youth listening. He leads them very well. Because of political difference, because he did not support a certain bishop, and the bishop come and say, we are changing your assignment now, you will not be a youth director again. We are bringing new person. So that you thwart that charisma that they have. But the church need to reimagine. We need to come back to terms. We need to come back and we need to pray and we need to get things done and done correctly.
Yep. No one leave the church. Our guest will be mindful of the time. Our guest said that he would give her 30 minutes. I pleaded to him to give her 1 hour.
Yeah. Joy, you are a bad guy. You are pulling my leg.
So
there are two people you can't give microphone to: the teacher and the.
So what we want from the time, but I will come back to my team. But the chat is filled with a lot of Google information. So I would like to recognize our guests and read some of the comment there, so Brother Abel can take note of some of the comment. They will come back to the team. Would I recognize our guests and read some of the comment there?
Yeah, Dr. Toro, and also we shouldn't forget that the book has been, the book that has been published is on sale on Amazon, and we'll be sharing
Amazon.
it. Please check the comment section. You will see the link in the link for the book on Amazon. You have 2 copies, the digital copy and the hard copy. And
digital copy is $4.99. I wish I bought.
Yeah, it's $4.99. So if you don't mind, I just want to share this so our viewers can know. We have 2. So please support our brother Abel Learwellie. Okay, $4.99 for your candle. And if you purchase the candle right now, which is just $4, please comment in the comment section. I got mine, or send a thumbs up. That's $4, $5, $4.99,
I got
and the
mine.
paperback is $8.
Yeah.
So please, promote our brother. All right. Our mother, Comfort Freeman, she's watching from Badnersville, Republic of Liberia. I want to say thank you. Our brother, Dickinson Zach Williams, he was just on the show. My junior brother, Emmanuel Sumo Cowboy, he's also watching from Kenjor, that's in Grand Cape County. I want to say thank you for following. Brother Peter Flomo, Peter Theodore Flomo, want to say thank you. He says that I'm following the Liberian International. I'm following from the Liberia International Christian College dormitory in Banga. Oh, in Ganta, Nima County. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you. All right, brother Deckerson Williams, was you call in. Brother Samuel Doppler. Brother Samuel Doppler said, I totally agree with you, brother. And
one of those that left the church.
He's one of those who left. So, brother Doppler, no one leaves the church. Okay. Brother Deckerson again, and our Reverend TDJ.
Reverend is in Liberia this time.
Reverend is in Liberia this time.
Not from Senegal, Gambia.
Not from Senegal, not from Ethiopia, but our Reverend is in Liberia this time. But you want to say thank you. The Reverend Iris Sakodo, the Lutheran Church in Liberia has a history of killing dreams and chasing out the committed.
That's a very powerful one. So I hope
it's a very powerful statement.
Maybe I hope take note of that.
Yeah, please take note, Abel. Yes. I mean, I don't want to emphasize.
Whenever Reverend Eric do come on the show, yeah, he always fire it.
No, he's honest. I think he's just being genuine. That's the thing about Reverend Do. Our mother Olagbe. All right, and
Olagbe.
Olagbichi. No, not Beji. It's Olagbe. Some left. Some left when they attended the Monrovia Bible Training Center, and they began to criticize the Lutheran Church doctrine. For example, the Lutheran Church does not speak in tongue, interpret, or discernment. Praise and worship was another complaint, and almost all Lutheran churches do praise and worship. That's true. However, every denomination or church has its own doctrine, and you cannot change the Lutheran Church into Baptist, Catholic, Pentecostal. We are Lutherans. The mother has spoken. Okay, and we can't say more than that. But Uriah Winnie, I think Uriah Winnie. Greetings. I'm watching from a quiet residence in Todota. Thank you so much.
Konowola, administrative district.
Me, why you laughing at me?
That's a player from. Just move forward.
Reverend Wokolo Collier, thank you so much. He's watching from his GST bungalow.
Thank you to the Reverend.
That's an old word. Old say bungalow.
That's it.
Yeah.
And when they just hold on before you move forward to Reverend Wokolo.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it. We're going to bring the show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
About him, a morning devotion.
Yes.
Very consistent.
Yeah.
And we want to really talk to him about that. When it comes to another arm of the Lutheran Church, about evangelism, to the morning devotion, we really need to talk to him. So then he can give us some good food of thought.
That's true. I agree with you. I think Elijah also shared the same. Well, we do agree with you. We need to bring Reverend Wokolo Call. Maybe in November we can bring him. That will be moving to our Advent, or the church season. And Brother Royal Jerome Jala is watching from Senko. I think we need to also bring Royal in because
Royal, happy birthday. You celebrated his birthday last time.
Yeah.
So somebody want to wish you happy birthday or you have a network.
Yep. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday. And the youth will be going to camp very soon. They are preparing now, so I think this is about time that we need to bring the young people on board and help them publicity. But again, before I turn back to Dr. Tutu, folks, the book is on the screen. Check in the comment section. You will see the link. Just click that link. It's $5. You cannot beat that. It's $5. So please, we want to see comments that I got mine. So please post in the group chat or in the comment section if you purchase yours while we're on the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Willie, for that. No one leave the church.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know how to really put it, Abel. It's like he fought up or he's able, right?
He's here with us.
With all the difficulty that people are going through the church in terms of some of the things that Abel lists, pastors, not just the pastor, other member, people not concerned about each other, people, whatever people pick and choose. When people serve the church, they die, their parents are not giving the rightful funeral, the church is not represented. Abel is telling us, don't leave the church.
Yeah.
He said, don't leave. Let's and fix it and make it better for us. That's the whole thing I take from that book.
Yeah.
He said, with all the difficulty the church faces, the church is not perfect. The church is a human being. We'll have 1 or 2 problems as a human being or as a church. But don't leave the church. Let's face it. What reform can we put in place to make a church a better place for us? Very early those say the church can't dream. But we shouldn't leave the church also too. How do we face the dreams? How do we make it a better place for us? Very powerful book. But we wanted to show, so I will get about host one question, then we'll get to Brother Abel, the one on the show. Elijah, your question
my question always got babies, so please, I beg you, please allow me to go through that, please. All right, Brad.
Your question don't have no twist. One baby, no twist.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
Brad, always good to have you on the show, and this has been a really good conversation. But on this second round of questions from me, I want to look at your global faith journey around from Liberia. So your story takes us from Benjamin or Lofa country to Monrovia, Monserrate country, also Accra, Ghana, and your experience in Asia. So that's an incredible journey. So how did living in these places or visiting these places shape your faith and worldview?
I think this were all great adventure and great exposure, and it helps to with me, not only as a person but as a faith leader. Uh, Getting out of Liberia for the very first time, was in 2002 when I flew out of this country along with Bishop Samuel Harris to Lomé, Togo. That was my first international journey, and then onward to Cameroon from the Lukwa meeting, and then we had to attend the All Africa Conference taking place in Cameroon, return to Liberia, and then eventually leaving Liberia beyond Africa, participating in the global ESCA summer camp program in Chicago and subsequently in Meffinburg. And going back to the US and traveling all across the world, it has really helped to kind of broaden my insight and my perspectives about different issues. And I've really helped to grind my faith journey in many things. And in fact, these are some of the reasons why when we speak the church, and if you look at one of my paragraphs, I said, despite of the fraud, despite of the imperfection, the church still remains. It still remains a ground where all of us can find hope.
Are you there, Brother Abel?
I'm here.
Okay. Thank you. So just a follow up to that. What differences did you notice in how people practice their faith in those places and their culture?
Well, it depends on who we are as a country. You know, growing up in Liberia, uh, the Lutheran church that I know have gone through a lot of transformation. Before the civil crisis, the church that you have today is not the church you had back then. Back then, I believe things were more stable. You know, we were young people coming up, and we didn't see struggle as we see today. We didn't see anything that got to do with leadership, and everyone could go to church, very friendly, very warmly, hugging each other and joking and sharing with one another. After the Civil War, we saw the shift coming into our church. And today, I mean, things are completely in disarray when it comes to human relationship. Completely in disarray. What I saw in other places is people are always happy to go to the church. People want to be part of the body of Christ. They want to be part of the fellowship. Not for anything, not for position, not for material things, not for power. I mean, they just want to be there to fellowship with God. But I think the Liberians' experience over the past 20 years have been really, really better.
All right, let's
Until
Thank you,
you guys,
Brother Abel.
thank you.
Thank you,
you have,
Brother Abel.
Elijah,
The
I'm done with
total,
you.
the total.
Question
I
four,
think let me just ask this last
let
question, and that
me
will be my last question to Brother Abel. It's very much important as the listeners are listening, and I think it will be important for them to hear from the author's point of view, because this book is challenging faith. It's also challenging us as Christians, and especially Lutherans, who are facing different things. So I think I just want to ask this last question and see how our guest can answer. But Abel, let's look at the issue of challenges and grace in your book. So every faith has its own valleys as well as mountaintops. What are one of the most toughest moments you face in your leadership with the Lutheran Church in Liberia, and how did that experience change you? Many listeners may have felt distant from the church at this point, and what message would you want someone feeling that way right now to have or to get from you?
Elijah, you got broken a bit. You got broken.
Uh, so, are you hearing me now?
Yes, a little bit better.
Okay. So I said, let's look at the challenges and grades from your book. Every faith journey has its own valleys and as well as mountaintops. So what is one of the greatest moments you faced in your leadership in your relationship with the church, and how did that experience change you? So many listeners may have felt distant from their faith at some point. What message will you give to someone feeling that way right now?
My signal is getting terribly bad here. Are you getting me?
we can hear
Yeah,
you
we're
now.
getting you
We
very
hear you,
loud
but
and
you not
clear.
We
getting
can hear
Elijah.
you. Go ahead, Brother Abel. We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Hey, did you get the question? You want me to state the question again?
Yes, please do. Please
Elijah,
do.
just summarize the question. Time is fast spending
Okay,
for us. We
so
can come away to do the
let's
show.
look at let's look at the challenges and grace according to your book. So I say every faith journey, has its own mountaintops and valleys as well. So what's one of the toughest moments you faced in your relationship with the church, and how did that experience change you? So many listeners may have felt distant from their faith at some point. What message will you give someone feeling that way right now?
Okay, you are talking about difficulties that I faced within the church and how did I overcome that challenge? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, according to your book, challenges and grace. What are one of the
Oh, okay.
the toughest moment you had, and then how that experience changed you, and how what message you can give to somebody who's feeling that way right now.
Yeah, so there is a thing, Elijah. You know, my biggest challenge was when eternally when I was being um uh ostracized by my own church dealership. That's the biggest challenge that I ever faced in this church. and I felt that I was being treated like an outcast, like somebody who have never ever worked or have never ever attended the church, and I was being treated like a stranger, and that really pinned me down to the ground, right? So I felt like just draining down, and I began asking the questions. I said, I thought the church supposed to be the place of refuge and a family. But it hurts most when you see internal wrath from within. It feels like you are being betrayed. It feels like you are being shaped, and you are being completely robbed of a sense of belonging. So whenever these things happen in movement like this, what we need to do, we need to remember that why people fail us. I've always said, people may fail you along the way, but God's faithfulness remains unbroken no matter who you are. All you need to do is to continue to hold on to the unchanging hand of God and know that you are not serving men, but you are serving God who has breathed you from the beginning to your present status.
Maybe I thank you for that. You said it all, and we wanted on the show, and now we got to with it. Thank you for being with us so patiently. Initially, you told me go there, give her 1 hour, and go 1 hour 30 minutes. Our normal show time. So I want to say thank you for being patient with us. Now,
Yes, I just wanted to address. I see one question, but
we'll get to it. Whatever, we need to ask a question, then we'll come back.
Okay.
We'll come in the queue.
No, due to time, if I can go ahead and answer the question. Which question is that, brother?
From Jacobson, is it?
They make ask a question in the queue also too.
Okay, I'm trying to go in a descending order. You have two questions here, two quick questions to our guests. Does your book view the Lutheran identity primarily as confessional, rooted in doctrine, or as communion rooted in belonging and shared struggle? How does your understanding of grace shape the testimony shared in the book, especially in the context of personal and national trauma?
Yeah.
That's a double better question. Thank you. Thank you,
So
Dixon.
maybe you can just do a summary on that along with Nelly's question, and then maybe we can do a second round. Maybe on Sunday we can just
it's so been in the book. It's so interesting.
a little bit about the book during the launching program.
Yeah. Just for you quickly, Dixon, you know our history as a Lutheran, right? Our Lutheran church is actually based on faith, and it is centered on grace alone, and not just scripture. And this grace alone and gave us a kind of a foundation as Lutherans. But whenever we talk about justification through faith, that's our confessional faith. And that faith becomes alive in a way we live and work with one another. So we have to treat each other as human. We have to treat each other as brothers and sisters, right? Especially in our shared struggle as Christians. So our Lutheran identity has always been first, not only in doctrine, if you look at the history from where we came from the date of moral officer, but rather in relationship building. That's why we feel so happy whenever we enter the church. The story we share with one another have been so inspiring. So in the way we worship, in the way we rebuild, in the way we serve one another, all of these things are very important. So my book actually celebrates our harmonies of both a doctrine that grants us and a community that embodies us as a people. So I call it the love letter to the Lutheran Church in Liberia. As you're reading from the beginning at some chapter, you will see yourself. So I said in the book that this book is not about criticism, but it should be considered as a lessons learned so that we always share that value. Then you came to the second question: how does your understanding of grace shape the testimony shared in the book, especially in the context of personal and national trauma? Liberia is at a critical role where people have endured so much trauma, so much loss. We have been in transition for more than 14 years from one displaced camp to another. But I will say to you that grace has become more than just the theological concept. It has become a way of survival and a restoration. And that grace has been found in the church. All of us live here during the war. It was this very church that when we had nowhere to go, when there were no authority on ground, when there was no government, everybody headed to the church. Those of us who used to go at the Lutheran compound, from the morning to the evening, people are in there. Even if you don't give them anything, they want to be there because they where they felt that hope was there. They could get hope. They could get what they wanted at the time. So the church has been very important. I have seen grace turn into bitterness, into forgiveness, into despise. I have seen grace turn into victims, into servants of reconciliation. So grace is what actually allows us to rebuild, not just the structure, but to rebuild soul. So thank you all so much, Dickinson. This is very important. It reminds us that even in our brokenness, God is still writing our story. He's not yet tired with us. The church remains a vessel of healing, despite of its fraud, despite of its imperfection. It still remains a place of hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Abel. I mean, so interesting. I think we'll have part 2 of the show. Yeah, yeah. Because the book is so interesting, and the question will just be rolling. When I get out of here today, I think we'll have to schedule part 2 of the book on the show to come and go more detail. Because some of the questions that have been put in here, I will ask, wanted to ask one question, and then we'll squeeze in the other question. Also, to them, we'll try to wind out team here. So, with it, you want to take it from there?
So, Brother Abel, yeah, I just want to ask this question, Brother Abel. What would you say to those who have already left? I know you are. The point is, no one leaves the church. Okay. The message to our brethren who have left the church and agree with everything that you mentioned in the book, everything that you stated this evening, agree with you, talking including safe space. What will you say to our brothers that have left? That is there a safe environment now for them to return, or they think that the environment is, or the environment is still the same despite that, we should all come back and try to fix it?
Well, as I said, it's sometimes good to take a step.
Okay.
It's sometimes good to take a step and observe what's happening for your own personal health. When things become shaking, sometimes it's just good to take a step. So, to those that have left the church, I just want to say to them that we miss you so much, because this is a place for all of us, and we understand the frustration that people face. There are different reasons, multiples of reasons people live in different ways. Your reasons for living could be different from my reasons of living. Many have walked away, not from God though, but from hurt and disappointment. So they try to find a refuge. The truth is that the church is not perfect, as I have said, but it is a community of imperfect people held together by a perfect God. So imagine that we have the building, we have the determination, but it's being driven by people. So all I can tell them is that we miss them. I want them to know that God has not left them. The faith, the love, the value planted in them are still alive, despite of them separating themselves from the SCU right now. So my only prayer is that the heart of this book is that they will be able to find way back home if necessary. They will be able to find their way back home. I want the church to be a place where people listen, not only judge. I want the church to be a place of restoration, not only reject. Because no matter how far we go, grace is still reaching up to us. You can be in America, you be in Europe, you stay here in Feasible, in Yapwa, grace is still reaching up to us. And truly no one leaves the church because the church never leaves us. So they are most welcome anytime when they feel it is necessary. We miss them.
Yeah, brother, thank you for that. We are coming to the end of the show. To our viewer out there and our listener, we'll try to appeal to Brother Abel again, so we can have part 2 of the discussion here when it comes to. That's why I said from the beginning, this book cover so many things that the church faces today, and if we just sit on a one Sunday discussion, we'll not get out of here. We have to play the. We have series of discussion. So this is part 1 of the discussion. Another time we'll have another series to discuss to go in detail of the book. So grab a copy of the book, read the entire book, and then be prepared for part 2 of the discussion. While Abel gonna give his closing statement to us, I would like you to incorporate this in your closing statement in the chat room. Our dear sister Nelly asked a question in the chat room and said, "Let me be the devil advocate here. Are you going to a perfect church when you leave the Lutheran church? Hi, the church is imperfect. People serving gracious and forgiving God. Don't get me wrong. The church should be there when her members need her. But how does the church reaches out? Should the church respond to every single problem that our members encounter? Are our members also dedicated to their tasks or project program or not taken by the church?" So these are some of the questions, Brother Abel. But looking at Reformation Sunday today, this was the time.
I think next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
Next Sunday,
Some churches celebrated it today. My church celebrated it today. Somebody he had a whole month or 31st is the last Sunday. But Reformation Sunday, Brother Abel, our father Martin Luther, one of the things that sparked the Reformation when the Catholic Church or the Roman Empire or the request of the building or the St. Peter Basilica, and they wanted the poor people to use their money to build the church. And he said, no, the Pope is rich. The emperor is rich. Why they can't use their money to build the church, or the St. Peter Basilica? Why the poor people should use their money to build the church? And that's where our Lutheranism came in. And that's about the reason why when the Lutheran Church came to Liberia, they didn't prioritize tithe and offering for our people. They were there to preach the word of God. For the people that accept the word of God and preach the word of God, that's why that was their mission. So the other question talking about people that the people should give tithe before the church reach out to them also too. So looking at the Reformation, how do you incorporate that in your statement and look at the book? Nobody should leave the church. And where are we today? And also the question that we asked, concerning the member that leave the church, do you think it will be good for the Lutheran Church in Liberia to come up popularly to address the issue and invite our brothers and sisters back into the church instead of just being silent on it? Because those are some of the key people. It will not just flow members that left that we know, but people that will play a major role in the church that left. Do you think the Lutheran Church can come out and open up that like a public apology also, but just like an open statement to learn from your book and say, okay, our brothers and sisters, you'll come back with your open arm, with welcoming people, let them come and build a church. Do you think necessary?
Yeah, George.
Your closest statement.
Yeah, George, it is necessary. The church should be the last reasons for people to leave. So it is necessary that the church make an open statement and call those people back to the church. Things may have gone wrong, that they didn't work in their interest, and they are forsaken. They are up there. They are roaming. They are everywhere. So in in the process of reconciliation, usually you don't see perpetrators going to victims. It's the victims that break the cycle of reconciliation. So if the church stretches its aims to those who have been disenfranchised, I see a greater opportunities of those people returning to the church. Now I come to Nelly's question. The truth is that there's no perfect church, says Nelly. As you live in one congregation in search of perfection, you will eventually discover that every church is made out of human beings. People growing, falling, and learning under the mercies of God's grace. So there's no perfect church. So other people who have left, like the Lutheran Church, every other church is a community of imperfect people serving a perfect God. God is perfect in its totality. Sometimes we make mistakes. We also strive to grow. We strive to repent and love better. That's why grace is at the center of our faith. So to tell you, the church should reach up to those who are struggling. Members also need to stay connected. They need to be, they want to be connected. They want to be faithful. They want to be supported. We can expect the church to respond to every problem or personal problem, Nelly. But together, to our shared commitment, I strongly believe that we can build a church where no one feels frustrated or no one feels forgotten. So at the heart of it all, it's not only about a few church. It's not only about remembering what we belong to, each other in Christ. But it is about imperfections that's the very reasons why grace exists. So no one is perfect, just like the church. So we have a greater responsibility as a church to go after the lordship, to go after those who, one way or the other, have left the fellowship. So it's our responsibility to go to them and extend, a handshake, a fellowship to them to come back.
Take it right, Abel. You just give a 30-second closing statement. Then I will come to my team to get our closing statement.
Thank you, George. I want this book to be a reminder to all of us that your story matters. Don't keep it. You may not be in the pulpit or you may not be holding any official title, but you are part of God's unfolding story in this church. Your faith, your service, and your struggle, your victory all contribute to the living history of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. And I got a whole chapter on this book to our young people. The youth have been one of my focus in this book. Do not be driven away from this church because the future of the SUR depends on you. Sooner or later, I will not be here, George will not be around. But the younger generation, we don't want a generation to take over the church that is in turmoil. It shouldn't be their responsibility. We want a generation that would be happy, that would meet a church that is peaceful and united in people. So you are the next chapter of this book. Stay engaged, stay curious, and stay grounded in your faith. The world will offer many distractions, my fellow young people, but your true identity will always be rooted in Christ and nurtured through the fellowship of believers. I worry about you every now and then. When we open our eyes in the church, we saw friendship, we saw unity, we saw togetherness. When we cried, people came. When we happy, people came. But today, our story is different. The church is divided. So our church leaders, our pastors, I say continue to lead in love despite of the distraction. The church grows more stronger when its leaders serve. When the leader listening, when they listen to people, because the church is about people. And to every member of the Lutheran Church listening to me tonight, whether you are in Liberia or you in the diaspora, let this message sink deeply. Even when life takes us far, we never truly leave the church because the church never leaves us. One of the verses that I have in that book is from Philippians 1 verse 6. To be confident of this very thing, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to the completion until the day of Christ's return. This verse reminds us that God is still writing our stories. And through every page of joy, loss, redemption, grace continue to lead us home. I want to thank all of you people who have supported this work. I want to be very grateful to my family, to friends who ask me the question, how far have the book gone? Where are we now? Where are you publishing the book? I want to be grateful to the Lutheran Church for giving me a platform to share my story and to be even more instrumental and more energetic to serve beyond where I have stopped. And to all those who continue to pray for this ministry of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. My Lutheran story, no one leave the church, encourages all of us to cherish our faith, tell our story, and keep the light of the church shining bright for generations to come. Thank you, and may God richly bless you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you, Brother Abel, for that powerful closing statement. You are setting up. This is your network of member of the platform. We are so proud of you for the good work that you started from your childhood days and up to the Lutheran Church days that you have reached this far. We are proud of you for the work that you carry on all the many years.
George, just quickly, the launch is on Sunday next week.
Okay.
The launch is on Sunday at the fourth house. That is somewhere around right opposite Mother Patton. You see the publishing house. We have it there just in case we change the venue. We are going to inform our community about it, our Lutheran community about it, where we'll be launching the book. And the book is on Amazon, and the copies are already in term. We place a number. You can call, and you can get hold of a copy before the day of the launch. So we want to welcome all of you.
All right, thank you for that information. You could share it also to with it. So he's our IT guy, so he can be able to help to share the information also out there to the rest of the fold in my Lutheran Connection other platform. Like I was saying, in this book, we will try to share you a part 2 of the discussion, to go more detail into this book. But then we hope that a lot of people have bought the book. They have got a copy that read it, and they'll be more prepared to come and ask some of the critical questions, especially the area of the youth you talk about. They have the next in line to take over authority of the church. Some of them may not be around. Some will be around. Would that be where we are today? So it's so that they don't take advantage of, especially the young people of the church. So that's a very critical message that you send out to the young people. And this is your network, as I was saying, and we'll continue to engage you for us to come back to part 2 of the discussion. And so we trust when we come to the church, they speak on a whole lot of issues. Lot of issue for the political aspect, the religious aspect, the social aspect, the financial, the accountability aspect. It speak on a whole lot of issues, very area of that church. So we hope to have that discussion, part 2 of the discussion. So thank you so much. Let me get up my team to get a closing statement, 30 seconds, and then they will take us home to the show. And then also to our viewer out there, thank you so much for tuning in to our father. We did see in the chat for when we were recognizing the people from St. Louis.
Yes, Melikpele K. Small from St. Louis.
Yeah, and then I see Bokari Willie.
Bokari Willie, yeah.
Also too. So thanks for tuning in for the show as always you do it. So we'll give Elijah the opportunity to give a closing statement, and then they will take us home.
Brother Abel, your story is powerful, not just because of where you have been, because of what it stands for. It's a faith that has traveled, induced, and also transformed. So I want to say thank you very much for sharing your heart and your story with us today. And I also want to say thank you to our listeners who tune in today to listen to this conversation. And if you feel inspired by what you've heard today, I would encourage you to reach out to Brother Abel to get a copy of the book. Also, you can get it on Amazon and also buy the Kindle copy. Like some update already. You can just buy your copy and it's on your phone. You can be sitting somewhere and you just read it. It's an easy to read book, and most of the stories within the book kind of resonate with a lot of us who have been through the rank and file of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. So as you're reading the book, you can see yourself in the story. If you already been through the leadership and some of the struggles of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. So I just want to say, Brother Abel, this is a great read and a lot of thoughts and efforts were put into this book. And I think I would encourage everybody to grab a copy. Thank you for being with us today again. And we'll look forward to another conversation around this story. Thank you.
Thank you, Elijah. Before we come in again, I want to say thank you to all of you out there. This is about Lutheran Connection, a platform. We discuss Lutheranism, we discuss issues about our church and the broader Lutheran community. If you have issue you want to discuss, or you have any program that coming up, you need more publicity, you have a Lutheran community, reach out to us. We have a team. We're going to be helping you to broadcast your program out and help you the publicity or anything how to do with the church, with the Lutheran Church in Liberia. We are willing to help you in that process. So, and I just want to come out here to discuss issue, but just also to be more like a welfare giver also to our member out there also too. Anything that have to do with Lutheranism, you are welcome to reach out to any of us, any of the team members will be able to help you to go through. If you read a book, let us know. We'll bring your book out. We'll discuss your book also too. Anything that happened in your life, any successful thing, like a success
Just to
story.
interrupt you, that we have to talk about Rumble as well.
Yeah, like a success
Yeah,
story. Or success story
yeah.
that happened in your life, all the house of Lutheran, you're out there, want to promote you. All the things will be it benefit our church. Our brother Elijah always said the Lutheran church has the best. We don't have a brain during the church. We have good human capital in the church. So whatever successful thing you do in the church there, come on. We'll be able to bring you on the show. We want to discuss the issue. So we'll get up to our brother Winnie to give a closing statement and then you take her home. And then we'll see you for next Sunday.
Look at Sister Goya. He learned politics and everything.
Um,
Why
Brother
you say why you say it again? People say it doesn't work.
I doesn't report.
I wanted to start my closing comment from a different angle, but while I thank Brother Abel Learwellie, I also want to challenge my dear cousin Cesar Guia. Please provide make available 10 copies for anyone in Liberia. So please contribute 10 copies, and I'm doing this as a pledge on behalf of my cousin. So, Brother Abel, we're going to follow up through that. 10 copies will come from Brother Cesar Guia as contribution towards this book to promote the book. So,
Sister Goya said you want to promote
It's
article, then you buy
it's
the
an
book.
article
we will do that. We'll do that, but I will no on a serious note, I'll follow up with Brother Cesar Guia and okay, that's okay. He been late today,
Yeah, we
I should have
understand
said
that.
9 copies then for you being late 10, but anyway, that's fine. 10. So brother Cesar Guia will contribute 10 copies. So those of you in Liberia or here in the diaspora, or most especially those in Liberia, if you want a copy, just reach out. We'll make sure that you get a copy through the kind courtesy of our brother Cesar Guia. Brother Abel, again, want to say thank you. thank you so much for this, inspiring material. And I want to close on this, your dedication. In your dedication, you said, to the faithful who stay, this book is for you. So again, I want to thank you. Thank you so much. Let us know all of the information that you have, even the flyer, so we can work along with you to make sure that we give a massive publicity to this book. I've also gotten a copy, an e-copy. Oh, so Ibe, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Where?
20 copies from my cousin Cesar Goya. 20 copies, 20 hard copies.
Thank
So
you,
if
Susan.
anyone is interested in receiving a copy, let us know, and you can get a copy. And this is through the kind courtesy of Brother Cesar Goya. Brother Cesar Goya is a religious follower of my Lutheran connections. So
Thank you,
sorry
Susan.
that
We
he's not
appreciate
today,
it.
but
We
20
appreciate it.
copies, 20 copies. So Brother Cesar is leading. So please let us all follow. We know that other people will come in, but we want to say thank you so much. Thank you to Brother Cesar Goya. And I know that my Reverend, the Reverend Thomas Jala, will also make some good and a significant contribution. So Reverend Jala will reach out to him as well. But 20 copies from Brother Cesar Goya. That's a contribution. If you want to say thank you to everyone, thank you for following the show. Until we meet next time, God bless you and have a wonderful and blessed week. Thank you so much.